Today we are going to discuss topic of aldehydes, ketones. So basically, you all know what are the carboxyl compounds containing carbon in the proportion of therefore. So far, we have already studied the details of this topic also. Here we are going to discuss some of the synopses which are required for solving some questions regarding this topic, that is aldehydes, ketones, and carboxylic acids. So these organic compounds, these compounds, they are basically called as carbonyl compounds. What they are called as carbonyl compounds. So what do you mean by carbonyl compounds? So what do we mean by carbonyl compounds? Carbonyl compounds which contain CO group. So those compounds which contain CO group are called carbonyl compounds. Yes, the compounds which contain CO group, that is carbonyl group, they are called carbonyl compounds. So carbonyl group is nothing but carbon double bonded to oxygen. Carbon double bonded to oxygen. This group is called as carbonyl. So the organic compounds which contain carbonyl group are called carbonyl compounds. If you look at this group here, carbon is double bonded to oxygen. The carbon which is double bonded to oxygen is called carbonyl carbon. It is called carbonyl carbon. And the oxygen which is double bonded to carbon is called carbonyl oxygen. These students remember these terms because most frequently I'm using these two terms. So whenever I speak about carbonyl carbon, I'm talking about the carbonyl group wherein the carbon is double bonded to oxygen. When I'm talking about the carbonyl oxygen, I mean I'm talking about the oxygen which is double bonded to carbon. And here you need to know the hybridization of both carbon and hydrogen oxygen atoms here. The hybridization of carbon is sp2. sp2 hybridization. Yes. So hybridization of carbon is sp2, and sp2 orbitals overlap with p orbitals of oxygen. They form a carbon oxygen single bond. And you know how a double bond, pi bond is formed. So if you look at the pi electron cloud, you know that a double bond this has a sigma bond and a pi bond. If you look at the pi electron cloud, the pi electron cloud is unsymmetrical because negativity of oxygen is more. So since oxygen is more electronegative, here what happens? The pi electrons are dragged, or you can say attracted more towards oxygen, making it a partial negative charge and making carbon a partial positive charge. A partial charge. Okay, so this is all about. This is all about carbonyl group. Okay, then if you look at the divalent group in which a double bond is present between carbon and oxygen, I think it's called a carbonyl group. Aldehydes and ketones are collectively known as carbonyl compounds. They are collectively known as carbonyl. When oxygen is attached to a primary carbon atom, the compound is known as aldehyde. And if it is attached to a secondary carbon, it is known as ketone. You can look here, based on the carbonyl group, based on the presence of the carbon, these carbonyl compounds are classified into aldehydes and ketones. They are classified into aldehydes and ketones. So how do we explain aldehydes and how to explain them? If the carbonyl carbon is attached at least to one hydrogen, if it is attached at least to one hydrogen, then we call it as aldehyde. So the functional group for aldehyde becomes CH2, right? Then, if the carbonyl carbon is not attached R and aldose both are same. Like for example, let me take an example here. Both are same. Here you can see both are CH3 groups, and therefore such type of ketones are called as simple ketones, or you can call them symmetrical ketones. With R and aldose. If R and aldose are different, like for example CH3CO, CH3CO, C2H1, they are called mixed ketones, or you can call them as unsymmetrical ketones. Okay, so here we have the next slide wherein now
Carbonyl compounds are those which have aldehydes and ketones, right? So aldehydes and ketones. Okay, so aldehydes and ketones are carbonyl compounds which contain carbonyl group. And what are carbonyl groups? So carbonyl group we have already understood. C double bond O group is called a carbonyl group. Then moving to, if the carbonyl carbon is attached to at least one hydrogen, then we call it as what? We call it as an aldehyde. If it is attached to no hydrogen, then we call it as ketone. We call it as ketone. Yes. Okay. Now, so based upon that, what we can say is we can come to certain conclusion, that is a carbonyl group, if it is attached to at least one hydrogen, so I can have it like this, or it may be attached to two hydrogens. So here there is one hydrogen, so this can be R group, and here they're both are hydrogens. Yes, we call it as aldehydes. We call it as aldehydes. And if it is attached to no hydrogen, that is C double bond O, both the groups are R groups. Both the groups are R groups. We call it as ketones. The hybridization of carbon in carbonyl groups is sp2 hybridized. Please do remember it. Resonating structures we have already seen. C double bond O, oxygen is having two lone pairs, so I can shift those lone pairs and I can shift the positive charge here, and I can write carbon carrying positive charge, a single bond oxygen here with 3 electron pairs, negative charge. Sorry, arrow mark in this way, right? So I can have a resonating structure shown like this, wherein carbon shows a single or a double bond character with oxygen, and here there is partial positive charge, and here there is partial negative charge. So this is nothing but resonance hybrid. These structures are called canonical structures. What they are called? Canonical structures. Okay, they are called the canonical structures. Fine. So this is a little brief introduction regarding aldehydes and ketones. Now the question is how these aldehydes and ketones are prepared. How these aldehydes and ketones are prepared. Okay, so these general formula of these aldehydes and ketones is general formula. What general formula means? What? It is nothing but homologous series. Homologous series. So homologous series for these aldehydes and ketones is CnH2nO, where N stands for number of carbon atoms and it starts from 1. Yes, for aldehydes. And for ketones, N starts from 3. Please do remember this. Though the general molecular formula is same, for aldehydes, the number of carbon atoms starts with 1. For ketones, it starts with 3. So simplest aldehyde is HCHO, which you call it as methanol. I did not discuss more about the IUPAC nomenclature, or you call it as a formaldehyde. And the simplest ketone is CH3COCH3. You can see here there are 3 carbon atoms, which is called propanone, or we call it as acetone. We call it as acetone, right? Yes. Okay. So here the homologous series for aldehydes and ketones is same, therefore aldehydes and ketones are functional isomers of each other. Okay, fine. The carbonyl group is polar in nature, and we have seen everything. Coming to general methods of preparation of aldehydes. Yes, so if you see here, the first method is from oxidation of alcohol, by oxidation. Oxidation is nothing but addition of oxygen. Oxidation is nothing but addition of oxygen. So we are going to add oxygen, or you can say by using oxidizing agents, we prepare aldehydes. By using oxidizing agents, we prepare aldehydes. Remember this general form: when alcohols are subjected for oxidation, when alcohols are subjected for oxidation, we get aldehydes. When alcohols are subjected for oxidation, we get aldehydes and ketones. If the oxidizing agent is very strong, we get carboxylic acids also. Yes. So here, if you see, in alcohols, we have already discussed, there are primary and secondary alcohols. So here, if you take primary alcohol, you get aldehyde, and if you take secondary alcohol, you get ketones. Correct? You get ketones. So, by oxidation of aldehydes and ketones, we get by oxidation of alcohols, we get aldehydes and ketones. So you can use any oxidizing agent like K2Cr2O7, acidified K2Cr2O7, or alkaline KMnO4. These are the strong oxidizing agents. They will not only oxidize alcohols to aldehydes and ketones, but they will further oxidize them to carboxylic acids. So what if I want from primary alcohol, what if I want only aldehyde, or from secondary alcohol, what if I want only ketone? We use a selective oxidizing agents. What we use? We use a selective oxidizing agent. Yes, that selective oxidizing agent. Primary alcohol to aldehyde, the oxidizing agent used is, you call it as Zones reagent, right? We call it as Zones reagent. Then for PCC, pyridinium chlorochromate. For oxidation of secondary alcohol to ketones, we use chromic anhydride. What we use? We use chromic anhydride. You should be knowing it. So primary alcohols, if I show you by a simple example, here CH3OH, this is a primary alcohol where OH is attached to primary carbon. By subjecting it to oxidation, I get aldehyde containing same carbon atoms. So if the alcohol contains one carbon, I will also get aldehyde with one carbon. If I have a secondary alcohol, that is CH3CHOH, CH3, then if I subject it for oxidation, then this group gets oxidized. So here I get a ketone. You can see here CH3, C double bond O, CH3, students. So here we need to understand primary alcohols give aldehydes, secondary alcohols give ketones. Primary alcohols give aldehydes, secondary alcohols give ketones, right? Okay. Moving to the next point, that is from hydroformylation. Okay. So here oxidation we have seen, aldehydes are quite susceptible to further oxidation to acids. Okay. So here by oxidation, second method is by oxidation of alkyl halides. So by oxidation of alkyl halides, primary alkyl halides, if you take, you will get aldehydes. I need not discuss much about what are alkyl halides. You already know what are alkyl halides. So primary alkyl halides on oxidation give aldehydes. Secondary alkyl halides on oxidation give ketones. Yes, please do remember these 2 points. The next method is by hydration of alkynes. What do we mean by hydration? Hydration is nothing but, hydration is addition of water. So when you take an alkyne, alkyne is nothing but you have R triple bond R, that is carbon carrying triple bond, we call it as primary we call it as an alkyne. So alkyne C triple bond C, when it is subjected for hydration, acid hydration, that is in presence of an acid, what happens? We get aldehyde or a ketone. We get an aldehyde or a ketone. So you can see here, I'll get it as RC double bond O, I'm sorry, CH3. This is aldehyde or a ketone obtained. Yes. And again, you remember here, the how many number of carbon atoms are present in an alkyne, the same number of carbon atoms are present. You can see here, this reaction is shown like this. This compound, can you tell me what is this compound called? It is called enol form. En stands for a double bond, ol stands for OH group. When these two are present in adjacent positions to the same carbon, we call it as an enol form. Enol form tautomerizes. Enol form tautomerizes to give a aldehyde or a ketone. So here I've got a ketone, so I will call it as a keto form. So this keto-enol isomerism is also called tautomerism. What is also called? Tautomerism. Yes. So I can say the enol form tautomerizes to give a aldehyde or a ketone, or you want to add to acid catalyzed hydration. So water has 2 H plus ions and 1 O ion, correct? So you remember like this. The negative part will go to that carbon containing less number of hydrogens, and the positive part will go to that carbon containing more number of hydrogens. So RC double bond O, RC. So here we have RC double bond O, and here this bond breaks and becomes, already one hydrogen is there and you're giving two more, so it becomes RC double bond OCH3. So you need not remember the entire reaction because we don't have mechanism for this reaction. If you just remember what you get, that is more than enough. Okay. Yes. Fine. So moving to the next part, that is from Grignard's reagent. So what do we mean by a Grignard's reagent? Grignard's reagent is nothing but alkyl or aryl magnesium halides. So alkyl magnesium halide or aryl magnesium halide is called Grignard's reagent. So when Grignard's reagents, if you take a ester, when you take an ester and treat it with a Grignard's reagent, we get aldehyde, or a ketone. So from Grignard's reagent, we get an aldehyde or a ketone. Fine. Moving to preparation of aldehydes only. There are certain compounds from which we can only prepare aldehyde. Yes. So first one is oxo reaction. You can look there at the reaction itself. Oxo reaction. So what is this oxo reaction? Oxo reaction is nothing but, you can see there, when when an alkene, that is an unsaturated compound, is treated with carbon monoxide at 423 Kelvin temperature, we get a mixture of aldehydes. This reaction is called hydrofulmination of alkene. And one more reaction is a very well-known reaction. It is a named reaction, that is Rosenmund's reduction. The Rosenmund's reduction reaction. So what does Rosenmund's reduction reaction mean? Rosenmund's reduction reaction says that reduction of acid chloride. Reduction is nothing but addition of hydrogen, and here you are using Lindlar's catalyst. What we are using here, we are carrying out reduction using Lindlar's catalyst. So Lindlar's catalyst is nothing but palladium poisoned with barium sulfate. This is Lindlar's catalyst. So when I carry out the reduction of acid chlorides, acid chloride is RC double bond O Cl. Reduction is nothing but addition of hydrogen. Yes, in presence of Lindlar's catalyst, palladium poisoned with barium sulfate. What happens is H gets replaced with H and there is elimination of HCl. And in place of Cl, here I have one hydrogen. So what do I get? I get RC double bond O, and the hydrogen is bonded to, carbonyl carbon. Therefore, this compound is called, what? An aldehyde. So remember, Yes, Rosenmund's reduction is for preparation of aldehydes only. You take any acid chloride, you will end up with an aldehyde. So if you are taking an acid chloride with 5 carbon atoms, you will get aldehyde with 5 carbon atoms. We'll get an aldehyde with 5 carbon atoms. Okay. So remember here, by using Rosenmund's reduction, you cannot prepare formaldehyde. Formaldehyde cannot be prepared by this method because the corresponding acid chloride HCOCl is unstable. HCOCl is a inorganic acid chloride and it is unstable. So in the above reaction, barium sulfate acts as a catalyst poison and it decreases the catalytic efficiency of palladium, due to which further reduction of aldehyde to alcohol cannot take place. Therefore, we get the product as aldehyde only. By reduction of alkyl cyanide, So when you carry out reduction of alkyl cyanide, we get, what is alkyl cyanide? Here you can see it is RC double bond N. Cyano group, presence of cyano group makes it an alkyl cyanide. So RC double bond N, this is alkyl cyanide. When you carry out reduction, again you are using a reducing agent, SnCl2 plus HCl. So SnCl2 plus HCl, what do we get is, we get SnCl4 plus we get hydrogens. These hydrogens are called nascent hydrogens, or you can call them as atomic hydrogens. They are not available in the market. They are prepared by this mixture. Therefore, this mixture is called a reducing agent. We call it as a reducing agent. Fine. So when you carry out a reduction of alkyl cyanides using any mixture, students, you can use stannous chloride in HCl, you can use sodium in alcohol, you can use zinc chloride in HCl. There are many reducing agents when you carry out, but since this is a named reaction, that the named reaction is called, here you can see it is called Stephen's reduction or Stephen's reaction. Stephen used stannous chloride and HCl. Therefore, we use this reagent only to get an aldehyde, Yes, so this is another reaction where we get only aldehyde, So these are the two main reactions. Even in this Stephen's reduction, what happens? We get a corresponding aldehyde only. That means how many carbon atoms you are using for a cyanide, the same number of carbon atoms will be present for an aldehyde. Moving to the method of preparation of ketones. Yes, if you look here, it is by alkaline hydrolysis of acetoacetic ester, or you can call it as an alkyl derivative. So you are carrying out alkaline hydrolysis. That means you are using water in basic medium and breaking the bond. Hydrolysis is breaking using water. So when you carry out the alkaline hydrolysis of ester, we get ketone only. There's one more reaction which we call it as open or oxidation. Open or oxidation is one where an alcohol reacts with a ketone to form a ketone with lower members, different ketone. Yes, okay. Moving to the next one, from dialkyl cadmium. You can see there RCdR dash. When dialkyl cadmium is treated with acid chloride, we get a ketone. So students, here you need to understand a very important point. What we need to understand here is, okay, let me show you. See here. What we need to understand here is, okay, so if I use CH3C double bond OCl, this is nothing but acid chloride. When I carry out Rosenmund's reduction, I get CH3CHO aldehyde, correct? Using the same acid chloride, CH3COCl, when I use dialkyl cadmium, I will get CH3C double bond OCH3. I get a ketone. This reaction is called Rosenmund's reduction. This is not having any name. So from the same reactant, using different reagents, I can prepare aldehyde only or ketone only. One more reaction you have CH3 C triple bond N, alkyl cyanide. When you treat it with a reducing agent, stannous chloride plus HCl, or I said sodium in alcohol, zinc dust, whatever you can use, you get CH3CHO, aldehyde with same number of carbon atoms. If you use the same one, same cyanide, and instead of using this, if you use the diisobutyl lithium aluminum hydride, that's a reagent, we get CH3 C double bond O CH3. I get a ketone. So using the same reactant but using different reagents, I can prepare only aldehydes or I can prepare only ketone. Yes, I can prepare only aldehydes or I can prepare only ketone. Fine. Okay. Moving to the next one. Now, see, you know all the physical properties. Yes, formaldehyde is a gas. Lower carbonyl compounds are soluble in water. And reactivity and all, when we go up to the different reactions, we'll look at it. Chemical properties, if you see, aldehydes and ketones undergo nucleophilic addition reactions. Nucleophilic addition. So nucleophilic addition, and under that one nucleophilic addition reaction is aldol condensation. What it is? Aldol condensation. So what do we mean by aldol condensation? Here is the example you can see there. When two same or different aldehydes containing alpha hydrogen, students, containing alpha hydrogen. So addition of alpha hydrogen, you should know what is an alpha hydrogen, CH3CHO. Carbonyl carbon is carbon of the functional group, and this carbon is called alpha carbon. The carbon which is attached to carbonyl carbon is alpha hydrogen. If it is bearing hydrogen, then only it will undergo aldol condensation. Like for example, HCHO. Is it having any alpha hydrogen? Is it having any alpha carbon? It is not having any alpha carbon. So when it is not having any alpha carbon, it will not have any alpha hydrogen. This is not alpha hydrogen, students. Please remember. Formaldehyde does not have alpha carbon, so it is not having alpha hydrogen and it will not show aldol condensation. So here, let us see. Addition of alpha hydrogen atom on a carbonyl compound to the carbonyl group of another carbonyl compound, forming a beta hydroxyaldehyde or a beta hydroxy ketone. Beta hydroxyaldehyde or a beta hydroxy ketone. Make it ketone, beta hydroxy ketone, is termed as aldol condensation. It is termed as aldol condensation. So carbonyl compounds containing at least one alpha hydrogen atom undergo aldol condensation. Yes, in presence of a weak base, you can use NaOH 50%, you can use barium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, potassium carbonate, sodium carbonate, or you can also use NaOH 50%, weak base. So only I'm taking 50%. Okay. So here, if you observe, so CH3CHO, is it having alpha hydrogen? Yes, of course. And I'll take such two molecules. So this is alpha hydrogen. What happens is this alpha hydrogen comes out and there is carbonyl carbon carrying positive charge, this carrying negative charge. So hydrogen will go to oxygen, and here it is negative carbon. So this will attack to carbon. So I'll get CH3C OH, hydrogen is there, then CHH, C double bond OH. So you can see here on what position there is OH group. So this is carbonyl carbon, this is alpha, and this is beta position. So hydroxy group is on beta position. Therefore, I call it as beta hydroxyaldehyde. Beta hydroxyaldehyde. Further, it undergoes elimination of what? That is, OH group is eliminated and hydrogen is eliminated from beta position. If there are two beta positions, the beta carbon which contains less hydrogens will be eliminated and there is a double bond created. So I'll get this compound which is called alpha beta unsaturated, alpha beta unsaturated compound. Unsaturated compound, or you can say it as unsaturated aldehyde. Alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde. Why I'm saying it as alpha beta? See, this is alpha carbon and this is beta carbon. So alpha beta, there is unsaturation, that is a double bond, and it is an aldehyde. So it is alpha beta unsaturated compound, and this compound, it is having a name which is called crotonaldehyde. What it is called? It is called crotonaldehyde. Fine. Okay. So this is nothing but aldol condensation. Next, simple aldol condensation, when both the carbonyl compounds are same. You can use a ketone or you can use an aldehyde. Mixed aldol condensation, when you are using two different aldehydes or two different ketones, still we get beta hydroxyaldehyde or a beta hydroxy ketone. And after elimination of water, we get alpha beta unsaturated compound. Okay. Then we have cross aldol condensation. That is nothing but mixed aldol condensation. So if you are using two different aldehydes or two different ketones, or you are using an aldehyde and a ketone, students, remember, you can go it with anyhow. You can use two different aldehydes, or you can use two different ketones, or you can use an aldehyde and a ketone. We call it as cross aldol condensation. The only way how you can verify whether your product is correct is check out whether you are getting a beta hydroxyaldehyde or a ketone, and then after elimination of water, check out whether you are getting alpha beta unsaturated compound. Whether you are getting alpha beta unsaturated compound. Yes, let us take one example. Let me make an example to explain y'all. So you can see here. So suppose CH3CHO plus CH3CHO in presence of a base, weak base. Okay, so here I have hydrogen. I can represent it like this: hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. So this is alpha hydrogen, correct? This is alpha carbon. I'll keep this as it is. And here
When this hydrogen comes out, what happens with carbon?
what do I get here is CH3 carbon, double bond oxygen is there, and there is a hydrogen attached. I'll rewrite it completely first: carbon, hydrogen, hydrogen, then CHO. So this hydrogen, since here there is a negative charge, here there is a positive charge. Hydrogen has a positive charge, carbon has a negative charge. So this alpha hydrogen goes to a carbon when this bond breaks. Okay, and this negatively charged carbon goes to positive carbon. So what do I get? I get CH3, C, already H is there, and here single bond, it becomes OH. Here we have a carbon with two hydrogens and then CHO. Let me verify whether I have done it correct or no. So here you see, this is alpha carbon and this is beta carbon. So I am getting beta hydroxy aldehyde. Correct? Beta hydroxy aldehyde. Okay, further what happens? Further, there is elimination of water, OH, and hydrogen is removed from beta position. One hydrogen is removed from beta position. So what do I get? CH3, CH, there is a double bond, then CH, then we get CHO. This is the compound what I get. Let me verify again. So what is this position? Alpha. What is this position? Beta. So between alpha and beta carbons, there is a double bond. We call it as unsaturation. So this compound is nothing but alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde. Alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde. Yes, so this is a simple aldol condensation. Now, what if I want a mixed aldol condensation? So what do we mean by a mixed aldol condensation? Here I can use two different aldehydes, CH3, CH2, CHO. Can you see here? Or I can use two different ketones, CH3, C double bond O, CH3 plus CH3, C double bond O, CH2, CH3. Or I can use CH3, CHO plus CH3, C double bond O, CH3, an aldehyde and a ketone. These three are called, when you use such cases, we call it as cross aldol condensation. I call it as cross aldol condensation. Yes. Here you need to remember a very important point, that is, when you're using this, you should first identify which is alpha carbon. Very important. Alpha carbon. You should first identify which is alpha carbon. Okay. So then alpha hydrogen gets replaced to this oxygen atom. That is very important. Yes. Fine. So this is aldol condensation and cross aldol condensation. Fine. Okay. Moving to the next reaction, we have come across many other reactions also. That is Canizaro's reaction, Perkins. Canizaro's reaction is the one where we are using an aldehyde which does not have alpha hydrogen, So Canizaro's reaction, what it tells us, when you don't have an alpha hydrogen, aldehyde with alpha hydrogen, when there is no alpha hydrogen, then what do we get? Right? That is the question. So here is the answer. You can see. So HCHO, when you carry out a reaction with using a base, 50% NaOH I can call. So here I'll take 2 molecules of this. It is not having alpha hydrogen, right? Or you can use this also, students. What is this compound? It is nothing but benzaldehyde. Yes, 2 molecules of benzaldehyde. It will undergo disproportionation reaction, students. What does disproportionation reaction means? One molecule of aldehyde gets oxidized to carboxylic acid and another gets reduced. Whenever aldehyde gets oxidized, we get carboxylic acid. And whenever aldehyde gets reduced, we get alcohol. Remember, and that too we get a primary alcohol, right? So this reaction, if you see, it is called Canizaro's reaction. So aldol condensation. So let me make it clear. Aldol condensation or class aldol condensation is for aldehydes or ketones which contain alpha hydrogen. And then Canizaro's reaction is for aldehydes or ketones without alpha hydrogen, when there is no alpha hydrogen. So you can see here, there is no alpha hydrogen. So I said one molecule gets oxidized to carboxylic acid. So 1 carbon carboxylic acid, you should write, that is nothing but HCO. And since it is NaOH, it will form a salt. And another molecule gets reduced. So CH3OH, I get a primary alcohol. Similarly here, one molecule gets oxidized. So I get COOH, benzoic acid, and another gets reduced. So I get CH2OH, that is benzyl alcohol. So this type of reactions are also called disproportionation reaction, wherein one molecule gets oxidized and another gets reduced. Fine. Okay. So this is Canizaro's reaction. So we have understood now aldol condensation, Canizaro's reaction. Now moving to the next one, that is reactions of different reactions of aldehydes. So halogenation, oxidation, reduction. Halogenation is what? Carbonyl compounds containing alpha hydrogen undergo halogenation in presence of an acid or a base. So you take a ketone plus chlorine in presence of an acid, what do you get? Alpha hydrogen gets substituted with an aldehyde. Alpha hydrogen gets substituted with a halogen atom. Yes. Then with phosphorus pentachloride, PCl5. When aldehydes are treated with phosphorus pentachloride, again, there is a reaction occurring wherein C6H5CHO plus PCl5 gives C6H5Cl, C6H5CHCl. There is a carbonyl oxygen which is replaced by a chlorine atom, 2 chlorine atoms. Okay. Then oxidation. Aldehydes get easily oxidized and give acid of same carbon atoms. If you are taking an aldehyde with 1 carbon atom, you will get carboxylic acid with 1 carbon atom. If you are taking aldehyde with 10 carbon atoms, you will get a carboxylic acid with 10 carbon atoms. Oxidation of aldehydes is very easy because of the carbonyl group which is attached to hydrogen, students. So here, even if you use a very mild oxidizing agent also, aldehyde gets oxidized to carboxylic acid. But if you look at the oxidation of ketones is difficult. You cannot say I will use a mild oxidizing agent for oxidation of ketone. You require a very strong oxidizing agent to oxidize ketones, and here you will not get only a product, you will get a mixture of 2 or more products having lesser number of carbon atoms. Moving to the next reaction, that is reduction. So aldehydes, when they are reduced, you get primary alcohols. Ketones, when they are reduced, you get secondary alcohols. Reduction can be carried out using
Even you can use reductions such as reagents. Depending upon what reagent you're using, remember, aldehydes get reduced to alcohol, ketones get reduced to CH4. So depending upon what type of reagent you're using, there are different things. If you are using amalgamated zinc or gel, it gives alkene. That reaction is called Clemenson's reaction. You are using lithium aluminum hydride followed by Bradley's reaction. And then you have emerging Contro-Worley reaction or Wolff-Kishner reaction. Let me make 2 points very clear. If
you are carrying out reduction of aldehydes, depending upon what type of reducing agent you are using, students. Depending upon what type of reducing agent. Let me make it as general one. If you are using reducing agents like what you can say, lithium aluminium hydride or sodium hydride or sodium borohydride, yes, all these reducing agents, you will get you are carrying out reduction of a ketone. We are carrying out using same reagents, you will get a secondary alcohol. You will get a secondary alcohol. So secondary alcohol. Okay. Now see, there are different reducing agents, like you have an aldehyde, and if you are using a zinc amalgam in concentrated HCl, you will get RCH2. This is the compound, or RCH3. I get this. This reduction is called Clemenson's reduction. It is called Clemenson's reduction. Similarly, RCHO, if you are using ethylene glycol, yes, and then here KOH, sodium NH2, then you get again RCH2 R dash. This reaction is called Wolff-Kishner reduction. We have many questions on this. We call it as Wolff-Kishner reduction. So based on what reagent you are using, we have different aldehydes and we get different compounds. So reduction of aldehydes using reducing agents like lithium hydride, sodium borohydride gives us what? It gives us alcohols, that is primary alcohols. If you are using reduction, if you are carrying out reduction using different reagents, then there are different names, like Clemenson's reduction we have, and we have Wolff-Kishner's reduction. Okay. Now, reactions of aldehydes only, reducing properties. As I said, aldehydes undergo reduction very easily. Aldehydes undergo oxidation also very easily. Yes, ketones do not undergo oxidation. Yes, very easily. So, even if you are using a very mild oxidizing agent, aldehydes get oxidized. And here are some of the mild oxidizing agents. Aldehydes readily undergo oxidation, therefore, they are strong reducing agents. They reduce Felling's solution, Benedict's solution, Tollens reagent, and mercuric chloride solution. Yes, so with Felling's solution, you can see there, Felling's solution is a mixture of two solutions, students. We have Felling's solution A, we have Felling's solution B. So what is Felling's solution A? It is aqueous solution of copper sulfate. And what is Felling's solution B? Alkaline solution of sodium potassium tartarate. This together forms a Felling's solution. When aldehydes are treated with Felling's solution, what we get? We get a red precipitate. We get a red precipitate, and that red precipitate is due to formation of cupric oxide. Yes. So reaction species of Felling's solution is Cu2O. In this reaction, Cu2 plus changes to Cu plus. Benzaldehyde does not reduce Felling's solution. The reason is in benzaldehyde, the CHO group is bonded to, in benzaldehyde, the CHO group is bonded to the benzene ring wherein there is a steric hindrance. Therefore, reduction does not occur. Moving to the next one, you can see that Benedict's solution. Yes, Benedict's solution is copper sulfate mixture of copper sulfate with sodium carbonate and sodium citrate. When an aldehyde is treated with Benedict's solution, here also we get red precipitate again due to formation of Cu2O. You should remember these reactions. If you are getting a red precipitate, it is known that the reduction has occurred. If you're not getting a red precipitate, then there is no reaction. So instead of taking an aldehyde, if you take a ketone, you will not get red precipitate neither with Felling's solution nor with Benedict's solution. The next one is most frequently asked question, that is Tollens reagent. What is Tollens reagent? Tollens reagent is ammoniacal silver nitrate solution. Yes, so when you take an aldehyde and treat it with a Tollens reagent, you will get a black precipitate, or you get something called a silver mirror. It is due to formation of a silver compound. Yes, silver. Due to formation of silver, we get silver mirror, and this test is therefore also called as silver mirror test, students. What it is also called as? It is also called as silver mirror test. Which test is called a silver mirror test? The test with aldehydes is and Tollens reagent is also called as silver mirror test. Silver mirror because of formation of silver, not because of formation of carboxylic acid. You can see oxidation has took place, and since it is forming a silver, we gives either we say it gives a black PPT, or we say it forms a silver mirror. So because of formation of silver mirror, it is also called silver mirror test. It is also called silver mirror test. So Tollens test is also called silver mirror test. It is also called silver mirror test. Okay, it is also called silver mirror test. Fine. Moving to the next reaction, that is, so here we have understood even using any reducing agent, we can any oxidizing agent, mild oxidizing agent also, we get the aldehyde getting converted to carboxylic acid. Sometimes you get a salt of it, and sometimes we get directly a carboxylic acid. Moving to the next reaction, that is, we have already discussed Skiff's reagent. So Skiff's reagent is what? It is a solution of magneta dye, that is nothing but rosaline hydrochloride. It decolorizes by passing sulfur dioxide. Cold dilute Skiff's reagent, when you treat it with aldehyde, you get pink colored solution. So for Felling's solution, we get, if it is an aldehyde, we get red precipitate. For Benedict's solution, if it is an aldehyde, we get a red precipitate. For Tollens reagent, if it is an aldehyde, we get black precipitate or silver mirror. And for Skiff's reagent, if it is an aldehyde, we get pink colored solution. So you should remember all these things. Okay. Then Canizaro's reaction, we have already discussed. You can see there, those aldehydes which do not contain alpha hydrogen atom give this reaction with concentrated alkali, that is 50% NaOH, or you can use 50% KOH. You use any aldehyde or a ketone which does not have alpha hydrogen, you get disproportionation reaction occurring, which we call it as Canizaro's reaction. You can see examples. Now reactions of ketones only. There are certain reactions which are shown only by ketones. So the one is with nitrous acid. HNO2 is called nitrous acid, and it is very reactive. So it is all, the reaction is always carried out at 0 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius, or you can say 273 Kelvin to 278 Kelvin only. Yes. So when ketones are treated with nitrous acid, we get oxamine acetone. We get oxamine ketone. Since the example used is ketone there, acetone there, we can call it as oxaminoacetone. Or you can see the bimolecular reaction when two ketones, example taken here is acetone, is subjected for reduction, that is addition of hydrogen. What do we get? In presence of magnesium, we get a pinacol. We get a pinacol wherein two ketones condense up. Two ketones add up, or you can say they condense. Okay. With ammonia, when a ketone is treated with ammonia, we get diacetoamine. Diacetoamine. We get diacetoamine. Now, what are the tests for ketone? No reaction takes place with Skiff's reagent, Tollens reagent, Felling's reagent, or any Benedict's reagent. Yes, only aldehydes show the reaction with these reagents because they are mild oxidizing agents. But there are tests for acetone. The one test is iodoform test. Iodoform test gives acetaldehyde gives iodoform test, but formaldehyde does not give iodoform test. What is iodoform test? We'll discuss when we are taking up the examples. Iodoform test gives yellow precipitate on heating with iodine and alkali. And we cannot say all ketones show this iodoform test. Only the ketones which have got C double bond OCH3 group can show this test. Next is Legal's test. With sodium nitroprusside is added to acetone and basified with dilute NaOH, a red-violet color is obtained. This ketone is also given by other methyl ketones. So iodoform test is shown by methyl ketones. How to distinguish between formaldehyde and acetaldehyde? One is odor, that is the smell. Formaldehyde has a characteristic pungent odor, but the pungent odor of acetaldehyde is not a characteristic. Iodoform test, acetaldehyde gives iodoform test, but formaldehyde does not. Felling's test, acetaldehyde gives a red precipitate, whereas formaldehyde gives a red-brown precipitate. Both of them react with Felling's reagent, but they react in a different way. Acetaldehyde gives a red precipitate, whereas formaldehyde gives red-brown precipitate. So today, so this is all about aldehydes and ketones.